It's a semantic argument, I know, but the fact is people have burned American flags for as long as I've been alive. I can't remember it ever inciting a riot. Some people don't like it. Some people think you're desecrating the flag, but are you desecrating the flag any more by burning it than you are turning it into a string bikini and wearing it damp until you get crotch rot? Like, we desecrate the American flag, depending on your definition of desecration, every single day. It's on beer boxes. You can, it's a logo. That's really all it is.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
It is.
What? It's not.
It is.
Can I start? I don't like to see you bickering. I would just like to start.
Sorry.
And I feel like this should be the start of the program.
Oh my goodness.
It's Have I Got News for Your Ears, the podcast version of Have I Got News for You, the long-running British comedy panel show now imported to these United States of America. I am your host, Michael Ian Black, joined as always by producers Jodi Lennon and Jim Biederman. Hi, guys.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, Michael.
I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I just had a what I thought was a very fun conversation with Roy Wood Jr. and Amber Ruffin, who are the stars of Have I Got News for You. So I look forward to you guys seeing that on the second half of the episode. But I want to know what the hell is going on in the news this week. My understanding is, again, very quiet, and what news there is, all good.
That's pretty much true. That's
Good.
pretty much
Okay,
true,
good.
except for the parts where it's not true.
Okay. All right.
A sleepy end of summer vibe.
Yeah. We're gonna do what I think we've kind of specialized in is just we're not gonna jump around a lot.
So it'll be a very focused episode of Have I Got News for Your Ears.
Right.
Terrific.
Right.
It's a very short press conference.
We don't. Yeah, it was only 2 hours. I mean, it's not like his normal 4-hour concerts. His 4-hour Deadhead concert.
What is so not upsetting, it's irritating to me that for the entirety of Have I Got News for You and now Have I Got News for Your Ears, it has all been in this Trumpian era. So everything we do is so dominated by this person, and it's irritating, and it must irritate everybody out there in the world as well, because every day there's just something insane happening. And it's all coming out of the mouth of the same exact person who happens to be running the nation. I cannot wait for this man's hand bruise to spread to his brain, have him, let's just say, out of office for whatever reason, and we can go back to just covering other people and other things that exist in this world. It's so frustrating.
It's certainly the level. He certainly increases the level of anxiety. I like when you see polls that people say, "I just feel really anxious all the time." It's like I'm pretty sure I have a diagnosis on that.
On the hand bruise, on the anxiety.
On the anxiety part.
Anxiety.
Which is like, just get rid of him. But I do like the idea that we're hanging on to the hope, and it's just hope, that whatever the fuck's going on with his hand is going to kill him.
What is happening?
I'm never wishing for anybody's death, let alone
but then we're putting so much
nation.
import. There's so much import on the I don't know, old age spot on his hand, whatever the fuck it is.
Well, I mean, it is weird,
it can't
right?
Be good. It can't
if
be
you
good.
If you haven't seen it, I think on his right or one of his hands, there's a massive bruise that he had covered with makeup, and then during the press conference, he's trying to hide it.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit alarming to look at that sort of splotchiness. I remember when Mitch McConnell had something similar, and things have not gone well for Mitch McConnell ever since.
No.
This is not a well man.
No,
and so when I see the same sort of symptoms on the president, I think to myself, gee, he may also not be a well man. I mean, physically, mentally, we already sort of know.
Yeah.
But physically, there might be some problems that that aren't really being addressed, at least
Well,
publicly.
True.
He maintained some Springsteen-like stamina for this press conference that he just hosted.
It was a 4-hour concert, crushed into 2 hours. He did 2 hours and he signed some executive orders. He doubled down on some of his recent positions. He did some of his greatest hits. Like he is a showman.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question he's a showman. But we did kind of start off. The meeting kind of started off with someone saying, a lot of people are calling you a dictator, to which he had this response.
A lot of people are saying maybe we like a dictator. I don't like a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I'm a man with great common sense and I'm a smart person.
I'll note that during the interview with Roy and Amber, which you'll see, all three of us talked about how we were in the gifted programs of our various elementary and middle schools and things like that, and how all three of us ended up being poor students. And I would say of the three of us, none of us would ever refer to ourselves as a very smart person.
Right.
Like that's just not something I feel like very smart people.
Does it
think
mean
about
you're not
themselves.
smart when you have to point out how smart you are? Isn't that the kind of the logic?
I mean,
I'm very smart.
when somebody says to me, they'll recognize me and they'll sort of recognize me and they'll be like, "Are you famous?" And my response is always the same, which is, if you have to ask the question, then obviously not. So,
Do you say it with that kind of disdain?
of course, dripping with disdain. You know me.
Yes, I asked. I just wanted to clarify.
So when he says like I'm a very smart person, it does remind me of that moment, because you just don't have to prove it. People would just sort of know. And let's also point out that people with very good common sense don't need to say these things.
Correct.
So the fact that he's saying it belies both of those statements to me.
Right.
Also, what do you think of him saying that people want a dictator?
Yeah.
Or lots of people say that.
Right. I understand that is really the sort of heart of this clip.
Please, let's not gloss over the fact that he's talking to reporters about the conversation about dictators. And
right. And many people are
him.
saying they would like a dictator. And I would like to know who those people are in his orbit saying, hey, maybe you should be a dictator. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, breathe through it, buddy.
That's by the way, that sigh. I've known Michael a fair amount of time. That's end of summer, Michael Ian Black.
No, that's end of America, Michael Ian Black.
Well, summer, the same thing. Could be the same thing. America was an endless summer for 249 years. And then you know what? Summer ended.
You know what? We're all sitting in damp bathing suits right now getting crotch rot. And the leaves are changing on the trees.
Mm-hmm. That is as apt a description of where we are in America as I think I have ever heard. We're sitting in damp bathing suits getting crotch rot. That's exactly where we are. We have spent 250 years just sort of enjoying the fruits of summer. You know, our progress historically has been essentially straight upwards, and there are going to be growing pains at a certain point, and that's where we are right now. So the question is, you know, normally when you have a growth spurt, it's not fatal. Like it might hurt. Mm-hmm. But now, you know, we're feeling those growing pains and we're thinking to ourselves, hey, this might be bone cancer. Like that's kind of where we are right now. And the fact that he's saying, hey, you know, people want a dictator. I don't know. I don't want to do it, but indicates to me that like we're in very, I mean, I know everybody knows this, but we're in extremely turbulent times. Yeah. And I honestly question whether we're already past the point of no return. not so much in terms of like Trump's going to end up being, dictator for life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the fact that we have unwound so many kind of American historic norms, we've blurred the line between what's constitutional and what's non-constitutional. You have a compliant Supreme Court just sort of letting him do it. Like, I don't know where we go from here.
We now legally have a president who is immune to a majority of acts he can perform as president.
Right. And so functionally, in a lot of ways, he's already a dictator. And the office of the presidency by itself, because of this Supreme Court ruling, has become a potential seat of authoritarianism for whoever occupies it.
Yeah, correct.
We've been lucky to this point that we haven't had a president who wanted to be an authoritarian.
Right.
And then once we elected one, we're realizing that this whole American experiment is incredibly delicate, incredibly fragile.
Right.
And at the end of it, we've got crotch rot.
Are you gonna finish that hamburger?
Also, I want to apologize because I think crotch rot is a term my mother coined.
Oh no, I've definitely heard that term before.
Oh, good, okay.
Yeah.
I've never really quite known what it means, but it's so evocative.
Yeah. I know. It
Let's just
really.
put it this way: it's not comfortable.
It really isn't. It's a very uncomfortable phrase. I honestly think, Jodi, you have perfectly described where we are in the country right now.
The other part of his executive order that he was signing on that was something I know is near and dear to your heart, about flag burning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, flag burning,
yeah,
my understanding, that this is constitutionally protected
correct
free speech.
Correct.
And so
1989.
So I asked Jim yesterday,
yeah,
can I burn a flag on air? He said, I suspect not, unless it's one of those little mini sandwich flags that you get in like a club
he
sandwich.
did point out the club sandwich. Also, I don't know where he's getting a club sandwich from.
I'm hungry a lot of the time.
That was a common feature of the club sandwich at one point. It would just be a little American flag in there.
Yeah.
And I assume the reason you don't want me to burn a flag on air is less about getting arrested and more about setting the studio on fire.
I'm not. I don't know if you're joking. That's exactly what goes to my like. How the fuck are we gonna?
Because I remember Bobcat Goldthwait went on Jay Leno and lit a fire and was promptly arrested.
Yeah.
And got into a heap of trouble for it, and for the same reason, you don't want to endanger your studio audience. But but when you're criminalizing free speech, as this administration has been trying to do from the very beginning, from the moment they started arresting students for writing op-eds they didn't like in college newspapers, then we're progressing step by step by step down the road to dictatorship. And look. Yeah. He doesn't want to do it. That's the last thing he wants.
Right.
He doesn't want to be a
right.
He's got common sense. Why would he want to do that?
Yes, he's a very smart person with common sense. He knows all the words. He's got a big brain. So when the generals come to him, tears streaming down their face, and say, "Sir, we're begging you. We're begging you, become a dictator."
Sir.
He can only resist so much. If it's what the people want, it's what the people want.
Here he is talking about his favorite issue, not why you shouldn't burn the American flag.
But when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways. Incite to riot, and you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't get 10 years, you don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes on your record.
So what he's saying is, when you burn the American flag, it incites riots like nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah.
But how would he know that unless we've seen it before? It's a semantic argument, I know, but the fact is people have burned American flags for as long as I've been alive. I can't remember it ever inciting a riot. Some people don't like it. Some people think you're desecrating the flag, but are you desecrating the flag any more by burning it than you are turning it into a string bikini and wearing it damp until you get crotch rot? Like, we desecrate the American flag depending on your definition of desecration, every single day. You can get underwear with it. You can, it's on beer boxes. You can, it's a logo. That's really all it is.
It's everywhere.
If you point out the hypocrisies or the bad policy, or you protest in the wrong way, then you're being somehow anti-American. And the flag is just another way of saying this same thing. It's just staking out a position and defending it to the death. But the position that I want to stake out is that is the First Amendment. And I'm a big believer in free speech and saying whatever you want. Because
please.
That's a good bit, Jim.
Thanks.
I mean, it's the best way. It's the best. Free speech is our best avenue of protest. And flag burning is, I'm sorry, it's just speech. It's not hurting anybody or anything. And in fact, it's keeping a lot of Chinese American flag manufacturers in business.
Which you think he would care about. He kind of leapfrogged from the flag to talking about his bringing the National Guard to Washington, D.C. to fight crime, I think. Mm-hmm. But here's how he describes Washington, D.C. in pure Trumpian glory. Here we go.
We always have a murder a week. They call it a murder a week. You come here from Iowa, you come here from Indiana, you come here from Idaho, because you're so proud of your country, you love your country, and then you get murdered. Your son gets murdered, your daughter gets murdered, you get murdered.
I mean, just factually, it's not true.
Also not, yeah, of course not.
I mean, and then Stephen Miller was saying that people can walk through the park for the first time in their lives. They can wear a wristwatch for the first time in their lives.
A pocket watch.
And I guess a monocle.
And a cane with like a big
top hat.
Gold.
And spats. Because that's the thing those criminals always go for, is my spats.
They've painted. I mean, I'm assuming most people watching have been to DC at some point in ther lives. Yeah. It's for the most part lovely.
They're still alive.
I mean, maybe all of you watching who went to DC, maybe you have a relative that was murdered there when you went. But it seems like if that were the case, tourism in DC wouldn't be what it is. Right? I mean, it's a very it's a tourist hub.
Yeah,
if tourists were getting murdered left and right, you feel like restaurants wouldn't be doing business, bars wouldn't be doing any business. And guess what? They're not, because the National Guard is there right now.
Moving on, because he did talk about a lot of different things. He then moved into his he was asked about his recent foray into, and I'm putting it in air quotes, communism, because it's not technically communism, but here we go.
During the campaign, you called Kamala Harris a communist, but the Biden-Harris administration, they never called for nationalizing a private company with the federal government like you're proposing with Intel. What do you say to some who say this is a bit hypocritical, and is this the new way of doing industrial policy?
Yeah, sure it is. I said, I'd like you to give 10% of Intel to the United States of America. Not to me, to the United States of America. And I said, if you have them as a partner, you have the United States as a partner, I think that would be a very good thing for Intel. And he thought about it, a little bit different, and he said, I like that idea very much. We have a deal. And I just made $10 billion or $11 billion for the United States of America. And yeah, there will be other cases. If I have that opportunity again, I would do that.
Now, all you have to do, Michael, is pick which one the queen is. Which card is the queen?
There may be legitimate reasons for the United States to take a stake in private companies. We've seen it before. We saw it during the auto bailout. The U.S. took a stake in General Motors, saved it. And at the time, if you recall, the Republican Party was all up in their feels about it. this is socialism, this is communism, we got to, this is this is creative destruction or whatever it is when you sort of let something die so that something better rises in its wake, like we're doing at the United States of America, by the way. And so, so for him to pretend that this is just sort of business as usual is not is wildly misleading. And the other component of it is we wound down our stake in General Motors as quickly as possible.
And
the United States.
And it was built that way. It was built to do that. We built it that way.
Right. And every time the United States has taken a stake in things, it's for that reason. Like when banks are too big to fail, for example, whether you agree with that or not, the United States has taken positions in financial institutions to save them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We need to be, I think, incredibly wary of the government taking positions in companies, because what ends up happening is when you own 10% of a company, the fact is, like, in owning that, you then have a lot of power over that company, and the country will then be in a position where it wants to favor the company that it owns a part of over its competitors, which it does not. So you get into all these problems, these regulatory problems, these like monopolistic problems. Like, it's just not a good thing. But what's alarming about it is his grinning muskrat, Kevin Haslett, Haslett was asked about this. And he was asked whether the U.S. might be taking positions in more companies, and he was saying, "Yeah, well, what? Where does this stop?" Like,
Michael,
What do you call
what are we doing?
Muskrat?
yeah,
Muskrat.
You do a Haslett. There you go. I wanted to see your Haslett.
Yeah, we might. Yeah. No, we might say Lockheed Martin. Isn't it great?
Michael, your one-man show is really shaping up nicely.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Thank you.
It's good.
Sir, I don't want to do it. We got the horse right here. His name is Paul Rubin.
Oh,
Wow, Harry Enton's in the show.
Harry Enton is in the show.
Harry
Absolutely.
Enton's like the narrator from Our Town.
oh yeah.
He sits on the edge of the.
Let me tell you a little story about the time America went to the shitter.
Fade down. We
I got the horse right here.
fade up on the other side of the stage. Well, look who it is. It's Donald J. Trump.
Well, if it isn't Man About Town, Donald J. Trump. Hello, Mr.
You know, with all good press conferences with Trump, he gave a lot, but he was also given something. And do you know what that was?
Wait till you see.
Hold on to your hats.
We thought it was only appropriate to present you with an honorary United States Marshal Service badge. And this badge comes with this little item right here, which is a handcuff key, Mr. President, because you continue through your policies and your efforts with your staff to unhandcuff law enforcement officers all over this nation.
I thought the key to the handcuffs, it didn't occur to me that it was going to be that it was because he was unhandcuffing people. I thought when you give somebody a key to handcuffs, it's because he has the authority to handcuff them. That's what I thought. That's where I thought.
I was waiting for what's the safe word.
But it amounts to the same thing, which is more violence. Is what they're looking for.
When I saw that, I remembered his famous, "Don't let when you put them in the back of the car, in the cop car, bang their head against the side of the door." Remember that whole that great a
I
hit?
do.
No pun intended.
I do. I just want to make an observation. He's an asshole.
He is a fucking.
And the people around him are even.
And that's
because they're trying to curry favor.
Well, let's go back. But that's where I go. Okay, yeah. Muskrat and Ludnick, whatever the fuck his name is. They maybe they haven't broken the law, but the problem is that they have been accessories to the crime, right? And I think that they go out. When they're done, and he's out of office, knock on wood, and they're all back in normal genteel society, they're just gonna be treated like they're fine. They get to live the rest of their fucking lives. And that's what big fan of the French Revolution. When you read about it, this is a big part of what the French Revolution was about. It's like, these fuckers just keep fucking cycling through and making more money and more money while we are starving to death.
Jim, I don't feel like you're starving to death.
I've lost 7 pounds, Michael.
He walks to the office every day.
I walk every day, Michael.
We have a series of people who walk Jim to the office every day.
To prevent him from getting
lost.
Getting lost.
He's just,
Look at it.
he sees a tall building, he strays.
I mean, the reason that you let people burn flags, for example, is so that you don't enter a situation where you've got guillotines in the town square.
Right.
That's why you do these things. And, you know, I'm not calling for a French Revolution. I don't need the monarchy beheaded. I don't need decades of chaos. I don't need a Napoleon to rise. I just need the constitutional republic that I know to function as a constitutional republic. And he's making this functionally impossible. And that's why I say it may already be too late. Because once you've made it impossible, something has to take its place. And what's that going to be?
An amusement park.
Something like that.
I agree.
And to the point where we are right now, with just half of the country now cannot separate fact from fiction.
And on that,
literally cannot
we
separate.
will end on this clip. It is the perfect summation of what you just said.
Would you also consider sending the National Guard into red states and red cities that are also seeing high crime?
Sure, but there aren't that many of them.
I counted earlier. So there's, of the 20 most dangerous places in the United States, which are cities, from 2025 through 2026. So this is now from U.S. News and World Report. Starts with Memphis, Tennessee. Next one, Oakland, California.
Okay, Tennessee. No, correct me if I'm wrong. Tennessee, that's a red state.
Oakland, California, number 2.
Okay. Blue
St.
state.
Louis, Missouri, number 3.
Red state.
Baltimore, Maryland, blue state.
Blue state.
Detroit, Michigan. Now Michigan's
Kind of goes back and forth.
coming in at number 6.
Oh, Casey.
Yeah.
Casey
Yeah, you know it, you love it. Alexandria, Louisiana. Most dangerous state.
Never heard of it.
Cleveland, Ohio, number 7. Number 8, New Orleans, Louisiana. Number 9, Monroe, Louisiana. Louisiana's not doing well on this list.
Now, Mike Johnson, I believe, the Speaker of the House, that's a Louisiana fellow, isn't he? So has he asked, with tears streaming down his face, with General Malfeasance by his side, has he asked for the National Guard to descend on his hellhole state? And why hasn't Trump mobilized the National Guard to take care of Alexandria, Louisiana?
Because there are no red states with issues. Number 10, by the way, is Pueblo, Colorado, my state, my home state. I'm a little surprised by that because Pueblo's tiny, but apparently it's number 10. Number 11, Anniston, Alabama. Number 12, Little Rock, Arkansas.
I'm seeing a lot of red states, a lot of Republican areas, which contradicts, by the way, what the President of the United States was saying in the Oval Office. So I'm confused because I trust my president. So I'm confused. U.S. News and World Report, somebody needs to go after these
They should
people.
probably arrest this reporter. But I think that, but I go back to your statement. It started as a pack of lies.
And it continues to be.
It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed the stripes. So out of the top 20, because let's face it, we're a top 20 nation. We don't give a fuck about.
We love a top 20.
21 through 50. What? There's 21 through 50. So we're a top 20 country. Not that we are a top 20, but we think that way. Top 20. Just give me the top 20. Rounding out number 20 is Kansas City, Missouri. But if you add them all up, it's 14 out of 20. Washington D.C. is not in there. Chicago's not in there. New York is not in there. Los Angeles is not in there. hang on. I know it's here somewhere. The town of my birth, Camden, New Jersey, it's in there. So
Congratulations,
No,
Jim.
Camden's always going to make that list, and we applaud
yes,
Camden
God
for that.
bless Camden. And the other New Jersey town, also in there, Atlantic City. By the way, home to,
Yeah. Some
I believe,
casinos.
4 separate casinos,
Shuttered.
4 separate shuttered casinos owned by one Donald J. Trump. So he did his share.
Boarded up husks of hotel casinos, contributing mightily to the Atlantic City blight, which he helped usher in. I mean, Atlantic City is like a perfect example of Trump touching things and killing them, because he was one of the early guys in there. And if you've ever been to Atlantic City, you would easily believe that it's in the top 20 of most crime-ridden cities. I'm no criminologist, I don't know, but I would guess that the reason those cities in those states are experiencing the levels of crime, like all cities that experience crime, has to do with a lack of social services, employment opportunities, housing prices, like all of these things that Democrats are trying to address. And so it does track to me that red cities in red states would actually experience more of these problems, because the Republican legislatures in those states are always fighting to remove those social services and help for people who need help.
Yeah.
But I'm not a criminologist, so I don't know. You can catch my guests this week on the season premiere of Have I Got News for You, Saturday, September 6th on CNN. And before then, on my list of besties, it's Amber Ruffin and Roy Wood Jr. Please welcome the better thirds of the comedy thruple that is Have I Got News for You. Hi, folks.
Well, thank you.
Hi.
It's lovely to see you both. It's been a little while. You know, we've been on summer vacay. Amber, what are some summer vacay highlights for you over the last few weeks since I saw you?
You and I went to Nantucket.
Not together, but we were there together. I mean, you made it sound like you and I.
Nantucket with you. So
Well, you're making it sound like we went there together.
we go on trips together. We could.
All right.
We could if you could just commit to us.
What's Nantucket like?
What's that, Roy?
What's Nantucket like?
What do you think it's like?
It's you know what? It's heaven on earth, Roy. For certain people, it's heaven on earth.
But it feels like, here's the thing. Yes, it feels white, but it also seems friendly white. Like people wave at you, white. And then there's also chowder and like boats. I really feel like white people close to water, always good vibes.
And then, I thought it was lovely, but I will say this. I do not like how on Nantucket, everyone's house is the same color, made of the same gray shingles. I think that's creepy, and I strongly dislike that.
Okay, that is noted for the record. Roy,
thank you.
How has your summer been? Have you done anything fun? Have you gone anywhere?
I was in Scotland for about a week and ended up over there for a TV festival. Took my son. That was dope. Oh, guess what I saw in July? I was down at Cape Canaveral. I went down. So apparently rocket tourism is a thing now, because they like people just go. Like I didn't know that there's just droves of space groupies.
Yeah.
Who just
haven't you ever seen like All the Right Stuff or anything, where you see all the groups of people watching the rocket taking off from Cape Canaveral?
Yeah, but it's usually like people and it's astronaut stuff. People were going to just watch telecom satellites that SpaceX was just jizzing up into the air, and it was a good time.
I bet it was.
It was legit. I went to an actual rode a bus, and you get out to you can feel the concussive blast of the rocket. Like, I don't know how far we were, but close enough with binoculars to read the name on the side of the like. It was we were as close as you're legally allowed to be to launching spacecraft, and that was. And I went with my son, you know, because he's into aviation, but it was one of those things where, like, even as a parent, I was like, oh wow, this is actually nice, and I should have been doing this more often in my life. I wonder when the next launch is. How was your son, Mr. Superman movie? Mr. Didn't tell your friends that you were in a summer blockbuster.
Come on, guys.
You're very good in that film, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
How did you acted like it was small, but it wasn't a small part. You showed up more than once, and I yelled. I'm going I ruined it for everybody. I was like, Michael.
For those of you who haven't seen it,
points.
Yes, I had plot points. For those of you who haven't seen it, I play Superman in the new summer blockbuster, Superman. But this isn't about me,
Fox
you guys.
News correspondence in that one. It was very good.
I appreciate it. I wanna, you know, I feel like people see us on the television show, but maybe they don't know your stories and how you guys came to be in comedy. And so I thought it might be fun to just talk about our backgrounds a little bit. And what about Amber? You know, I know you fairly well at this point. You're from Nebraska. You know, I think you're the youngest of, I want to say 5. Why did you become a comedian? Like, how did that happen? Because that doesn't seem like a normal course of events for a young girl from Omaha.
I became a comedian because I am the youngest of 5. And so
the question answers itself.
So they were like, let the baby sing you a song. Watch the baby do the dance. Will you just help the baby? Look at the baby. Don't you yell at the baby. Now let the baby put some makeup on you. Give it to the baby. So I was terribly spoiled.
Right. So the baby grew up thinking she was very special.
Yes, that's right. And turns out, Mommy, you was right. Me special. But then I think it just gives you the bravery to take up space. And that's what's special. Because don't nobody from Omaha take up more than 2 sentences in a conversation. Like, don't look at me. I still kind of have elements of that where, like, if I have to, like, something has changed in a sketch and I have to tell Seth, like, and this is Seth. I've known this man for 1,000 years at this point. My hand is on the door of his office and I shoot my head and I go, okay, so we've cut from page 2 to page 5, and then we're just going to replace it with the thing we cut earlier. And I'm gone. I can't take up a lot of time or space. That's why, Michael, I like it when you come into my dressing room, because then I'm not bothering you in your dressing room. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's very sweet. I always feel bad. See, I'll give you a little backstage gossip. Amber and I, our dressing rooms are right next to each other. And oftentimes I'm in there by myself feeling sad and lonely. And Amber is in there with her partner, Kelsey. And they just sound like they're having so much fun. So I will gently knock on the door and say things like, "Can I hang out with you?" And then a lot of times they just glare at me. And then I slowly close the door and step away.
No one glares at Michael. Look at Michael. Let him into the room. Listen to Michael sing you a song. Somebody feed
party
Michael.
over there.
Roy, what about you? You, and we'll get back to you, Amber. But look, Roy's over there looking so lonely. You are an Alabama kid, and your dad was a big deal in radio journalism and broadcasting, and I feel like you and I have never had the conversation about your dad, and I'd be curious to know about him at some point. But why comedy, Roy? How did you find your way into comedy?
I don't know, man.
Well, there we go. I mean, that's the answer. I don't know, man. And you sound so disgusted with me for even asking the question.
I know part of it was we moved to Birmingham in the 3rd grade from Memphis. And then pretty much from 2nd grade until high school, I was in a different school district every 2 years.
Why?
So within the Birmingham, I was in the gifted program. And so in Birmingham
I guess I'll ask the
schools,
question again. Why?
They thought I was smart, but I was tricking them. My in the Birmingham City school system, the gifted program was only in one school per grade, and that changed every year. So if you're in the gifted program in 5th grade, you go over here. 6th grade is at this school. For 7th graders, it's at that. So it was a lot of that shit happening. So every year or two, I'm having to meet a whole new group of people that I don't know. And humor was the easiest connector. Sports too. Like if I was big into sports. So if you can prove your prowess on the kickball field or playing basketball, then it's an easy way to like merge into some friendships or whatever. And so, I watched a little bit of Sinbad growing up, a lot of Sinbad and Rondell Sheridan. Like those two, like, oh my Lord. I mean, everybody talks about Eddie Murphy and George
I don't know
Carlin.
Rondell Sheridan. Who is that?
He's the dad from That's So Raven.
Okay.
Stellar stand-up comedian. Decided, hey, I'll go do the sitcom life, make the Disney checks for a while. So I don't know how much he still did stand-up while he was doing Raven. But in those early days in the 80s and 90s, he was as much of a beast as anybody else that was out there. And also they were clean. So I could watch those comics in the house. I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of cussing and, a lot of shit like that. So, I got
to watch a lot of cussing and shit like that.
Yeah. And then when I got to high school, I was a bench warmer for the baseball team, and we just cracked on people. And like that was the beginning of like open mics. Like we would sit all day and research evil things to yell at the other team when we got to the stadium. And if you got the parents to laugh, that was like an applause break. If you got the ump to laugh, that's a standing ovation. Like if you can get a serious man in a blue shirt wearing pads, and if you can get him to call timeout so he can laugh, oh my God, bro. And like that was the idea of being able to manipulate people. And you couple that with the rise of Stuart Scott and the humor of SportsCenter. And I love sports and humor, so I just went into journalism. And granted, my dad was a radio news journalist and like a proper reporter, and he would embed himself in like all of these worldly global conflicts to report on them. But I just wanted to crack. I just wanted to be Kenny Mayne. That's all I wanted. It's just stand up. I kept getting better at it. So when I graduated college, I just kept doing it.
So Roy was in the gifted program. I was in the gifted program. Michael, were you in the gifted program?
I was.
Yeah.
3 gifted children on Have I Got News for You. No wonder we're so astute.
I don't know. I graduated high school with a 2.4 GPA though, so I wasn't like excelling. Gifted. I had
At a certain point, we were in the gifted program, and you've got the 2.4 GPA. Do they ever say, you know what, Roy? We think we might have made a mistake.
Yeah. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah. Top of my senior year, they was like, hey, big dog, you're not taking the AP courses this year. Just graduate. Now, in my defense, my pops died the front half of my senior year. And so my dad didn't pay taxes because he was like a big time militant, like the black man's right to vote. The Voting Rights Act had an expiration date on it, like from a couple years ago or whatever. So he felt like because there's a limitation on my rights, this is such old black man logic to him. Because there's a limitation on my rights, I'm not going to pay taxes ever until I'm wholly a citizen. Until you see me as a whole citizen, I'm never paying. So my dad never paid taxes. And then he died, and the first thing the IRS does is go, yeah, you and your mama got to get the fuck out of here. We're going to take this house because he never paid taxes. And so my mom basically said, I will hold them up. My mom has a law degree. So she goes, I know how to tie this up in court for the next 7-8 months till you graduate high school. So they're not going to take the house. But also my dad dying created a fiscal strain on the house because he was the breadwinner. My mom had a little bit of money, but we didn't have enough to keep the lights. You know what I mean? So I started working, bro. I was in high school. I was working 30 hours a week. So yeah, I didn't study for Miss Shaw's AP history test. Sorry. Yeah. That was one of the first jokes I had as a college student when I started doing stand-up. I graduated high school with a C. How much do I need to know to not come here again? That's all I want to know.
Were you a good student, Amber? I feel like you were. I'm going to guess that you were a very good student.
I was a great student until I became a cheerleader.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh my God, I could just be dicking around.
High school or college?
I'm never applying myself again. And I didn't.
High school? A high school cheerleader?
Yes. In my junior year of high school, I became a cheerleader and I really just fucking lost my mind. Also, I had a like a small like Jerry curl. I was missing my front tooth. I'm as close to being legally blind as you can be without being legally blind. And that's what I looked like at the end of my whole everything. And then over the summer, I came back on my junior year and I had braids and I had contacts and I had the tooth, and then teachers didn't recognize me and I got to just start over. And I was like, I'm going to be horrible. And I was, and it was great.
I also was a bad student. I was a B, C student in high school. And my attitude was exactly the same as yours, Roy, which is what is the least I can do to get out of here and never return. And
I don't want to do this anymore.
So we had that in common because I was a bad student. I was like a B, C student in high school. All I wanted to do was get out of New Jersey and never come back. And comedy was, I guess, my way of doing that.
I just wanted to focus on what was important, and it was more important to work and pay bills so that my mom wouldn't be stressed. So I'm not gonna go to the school dance, or I'm not gonna go like and hang out and walk the mall all night or all day with my friends like they did. I had like regular, like I would work 12-hour days on Saturdays, and God bless Alabama like child labor laws, because they go, oh, you can only work 20 hours a week, but you can't work past 7 or whatever. No employer cares. They can. That's why when we were reporting those stories, also I would get 20 hours with one employer and then go get 15 with somebody else. And if either of them started tripping or I got fired, I could just go work day labor or temp service and just paint parking lots, or just work the stop slow stick like construction site guy. I did that. So you could make money, and that just felt more purposeful.
Roy, how many normal jobs have you had?
Ooh, challenge accepted. Okay, we'll start with raking leaves. Mm-hmm. That was the first job. First pay stub was Baskin Robbins.
Okay.
Subway. Outback Steakhouse. Telemarketed for the Alabama State Troopers Benevolent Association. ADT, Home Security. I telemarketed for them. Shoney's, Golden Corral, Quickcrete, the
What's
concrete.
That? Oh, okay.
The ready to pour concrete. I worked at a Quickcrete factory in South Carolina for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
And then like various like day labor, like you could be painting a parking lot of a mega church that's getting built, or the next day you could just be scraping shingles off of an old development. So like weird odd jobs and stuff. But yeah, that pretty much covers me from age 13 till about 22.
Wow.
I think 22 was when Golden Corral was like the last properly structured employment that I had. And then after that, it was just radio station. And I don't count that. Like that was career.
What about you, Amber?
I worked at a sandwich shop that I don't name because they fired me for having braids. And I go in on them all the time, so I try not to say their name. But it ain't Subway. And I coached gymnastics for a while. And then I feel like I just moved to Chicago to do improv. After that, there had to be another job in there. But I wasn't giving it my best, so I don't know.
What's that like as a coach? You ever like somebody paying you to coach their kid, but you know the kid trash? Do you just keep taking the money, or do you like to tell them?
Yes, because it's not about whether you're good or bad. It's about beating your personal best.
It's about the process, Roy.
You're going to get that cartwheel because I believe in you. You know, I'm a very nice person, but you should have seen me yell at those children. Let me get a hold of the cheerleaders. I'd be like, you have to go home. You can't be in here acting like this. I was terrible.
See, here's the thing that I feel like I didn't understand about you before I knew you, Amber, and I feel like maybe the audience doesn't understand about you, about Amber. You come across as somebody who is bright and sunny and bubbly, and you are all of that. But there is a side of you that is, don't you cross Amber. If you cross Amber, you're going to suffer. I feel like there's an edge there. And I actually feel like it's the edge, not the friendliness, that makes you so good at what you do. Like the friendliness is a guise. The edge is, because I can't tell you the number of times I've sat across from you and have I got news for you. And seeing that little evil glare in your eye when something is happening. And I know, like, when there's any conflict on set and the little, like, that just, like, mischievous thing that gets into your eye, and it just eggs me on. Roy, do you know what I'm talking about with Amber?
No, because the entire time in the show, I'm sitting in the center, so I'm facing forward. So I never get to see the cross-set glances that you two. So, like, when Tim Burchett is mumbling something, what I can clock in my peripheral is her shift in the seat. So I can feel her move. So if I hear crazy thing on left and I see movement on right, my brain instinctively is to square to Amber and go, you go first, because the words are making your body move.
Yeah, there's a thing she does where she just slightly swivels, and you could see it's like the sniper rifle heading for its target.
Truly terrible. Truly terrible. And we never get in trouble. I'm always waiting to be pulled aside and have someone go, hey, we invited these people here. You can't just be cussing out congressmen. But no one has yet. So
yeah,
well,
it's been a good run.
One of the things that excited me about this show when I got hired was I was told the mandate was from the head of CNN, Mark Thompson. The mandate was you should be worried every week that you're going to get fired, meaning like you can't go far enough. And to their credit, CNN has, as you just said, Amber, like let us just sort of run roughshod. And I think that might be part of the reason why the show was working, because they trusted us to push the envelope. Amber, you don't strike me, because I know you don't watch the news, you don't strike me as somebody who is all that political in your sort of day-to-day life. How has it been for you being on a show like this that is very political?
I do watch the news when it's time to watch the news. But I do like to go back and forth with have I got news for you, because sometimes you don't know what has happened. And then I receive the news from Roy's mouth live on television. And it is a delight. I do think it's fun not knowing sometimes. But I feel like I watch the news a lot because of Late Night Seth. So lots of times I have to know it. But there's some hiatus weeks of Late Night Seth when I come on, have I got news for you? I don't know shit. And I love it. It feels great. But I'm not the most political person because I only really became political after the murder of George Floyd. Then I was like, fuck, now I got to do my homework and know what country I live in and who does what. Fuck, I don't want to learn about the government. But then I felt like I kind of had to or else. So now I know a teeny bit, and that's too much.
And Roy, your family background. Roy, your family background is political. Then you came onto the Daily Show, obviously political. What is your background with politics, or how did you personally evolve politically?
So the backstory. So my dad was a civil rights journalist, and he was embedded in
and a tax cheat, by the way.
He didn't cheat. He still paid him because they got the house. Oh yeah, end of that story. I graduated high school. My mama gave him the house. They took it. They still haven't sold it since because it's fucking haunted. There's my dad. You can't name a war or a riot from the 1950s until the LA riots that my dad did not cover physically there on the ground. So I grew up. There was a TV, and I'm not joking. There was a TV in the house dedicated to C-SPAN, and it was in a back room. And my pops would have a recorder. He would have a tape recorder recording the TV, so he could pull audio from congressional sessions to play on his news shows in the morning, or his commentary talk shows or whatever. Larry King, local news. So I watched the news on a regular basis. We were a 2 newspaper house. Remember when cities had 2 papers competing with each other?
Yeah.
So
more than that.
We would read both papers every day in the house, and I just kind of habitually just took in the news. And then you get.
Were you somebody who naturally gravitated towards the politics that your family already had, or was your inclination to kind of rebel against them at some point, and then you came back to it? Or did you come back to it? I actually don't know what your personal politics are.
I rebelled a million times over. I just wanted to talk about sports. My dad come on every day mad and angry and talking about racism and white people. And I'm 12, bro. I'm playing my PlayStation, the Sega Genesis. Excuse me. So I graduate college, and then I started doing stand-up. And then somewhere in my early 30s, when I really started looking at wanting to start a family, oh my God, how do I have a family in a country this dysfunctional? And that's when my comedy shifted. So I'm 46 now, so this is maybe 32, 33 years old when that shift happened to my material. And that's just where I sit now, you know. I would say I'm left of center on pretty much everything. I don't think I'm a super uber leftist or anything, but, you know, it depends on which Reddit page you're reading about me. You know, they'll accuse you of being far more, your politics will be far more down a rabbit hole than you think they are, just in the eyes of certain people. But, you know, for our show, the goal every day is to consume 30 minutes of content that I've never seen or wouldn't expose myself to otherwise. So that could be in magazine form, it could be a book, it could be a channel, it could be a show. I try to, you know, Ronnie Chang and I, when we were at Daily Show, Ronnie and I shared an office. So every day we would pick a different news channel so that we just didn't watch the big 4. And that's how you end up down. But it's also how you find out more about the world. So I'm kind of like Amber. I know a little bit about everything, but I can't go, like the way you can break down how a congressperson voted on an issue the last 5 times they were in office. I can't do that. And you can't even build the muscle to do that at this age. It's just, but I know a little bit about just about everything. And so for our show, I ingest all of the news Monday through Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, I just look at the stuff that interests me. You know, so it might be 30 minutes of BBC. It might be 15 minutes of Cheddar News or something like that. You know, local news in New York is fun. Also, once a week, I try to read a local paper from another city in the States. The problem with that now, though, is that the corporatization of newspapers and the consolidation of print media, pretty much every newspaper is the same Associated Press stories. There's no local reporters anymore in most of these mid-major markets. So I could pull up the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and the Tampa Tribune will have half of the same stories as the Pittsburgh paper, minus something about the Rays and a stadium deal.
I love watching the local news of other cities because it's like, oh boy, the capybaras got out of the zoo again. What are you gonna do? I think it's so adorable. Also, I kind of like watching the news when I go home to Omaha because it's not like they found a severed foot on the subway. It's never that. It's never anything too terrifying.
To my knowledge, there are no subways in Omaha. I could be wrong, but my guess is there are severed feet. Before we go, Amber, is there anything you'd like to plug?
No.
Okay.
Yes,
never mind.
I'd like to plug. Have I got news for you? Fucking, we're coming back in a minute. And Late Night with Seth Meyers. That's on all the time. Get into it.
And Roy, you've got a book coming out.
Yes, The Man of Many Fathers, from Crown Publishing, available now for pre-order on
What is the
hardback.
official publication date?
October 28th. Tuesday, October 28th. So yeah, grab that semi-memoir, life lessons I learned from people other than my dad, the tax cheat.
Well, I want to thank both of you guys, Amber Ruffin, Roy Wood Jr. Thanks for coming on. Have I got news for your ears? I look forward to seeing both of you back in the offices in just a matter of days. Thanks for coming on.
I miss y'all.
Yay! We did it. We win.
Thank you to my pod partners, and that's a phrase I will never use again, Jodi Lennon and Jim Biederman, and to my lovely guests and friends, Amber Ruffin and Roy Wood Jr. For those of you playing along at home, we're taking next week off to prep for our Season 3 premiere on September 6th, but we'll be back with a brand new episode of Have I Got News for Your Ears on the following week. Don't miss an episode. Follow us on Apple, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Even better, watch the Vodcast on Spotify or on the Have I Got News for You YouTube channel.